They're burning them. I don't know why. They're burning them again.
How is that burnt, Chef?
Look, young lady, come here, smart ass. And you asked me a question like that. How's that burnt? You can't see that?
Are those the scallops?
Acrid and burnt. Okay, look at me. Look at me.
Yes,
I
chef.
take charity serious.
Yes, chef.
So should you.
Yeah.
He was not happy with it.
Food is a love language, but in Hell's Kitchen, it can also be a language of war. These are times chefs got into intense arguments with reality TV's most enduring and endearing anti-hero, the Chef Ramsay. Like when Andrew in season 1 tried to call Chef Ramsay down to his station to check his dessert.
You want to pick on me? Pick on me. I don't give a shit.
And you think every time you want to ask me a question, I'm going to go down there and run to you when I'm trying to run a kitchen.
Or when Boris in season 8 tried mimicking and mocking Chef Ramsay.
So I'm telling her the pizzas are all. Come here, you face.
Or when Chef Ramsay suspected Robin of sabotaging Benjamin during the finale of All-Star season with undercooked beef.
It was a up, chef.
Oh, really?
Yes, chef. I don't want to him. I'm not here to sabotage him.
Right. You don't care.
Oh, my God. I'm not going to answer any more questions.
Why not?
Because everything I say is wrong, chef.
Oh, so what you did was right.
When this punk disrespected Chef Ramsay on the opening night of season 16.
Don't sit there with your mouth open. I'll put something in there.
That night, Erica Ashe and Nolan Gould were present, adding extra energy to an already tense atmosphere. As the clock ticked past the 45-minute mark, Chef Ramsay was visibly frustrated, demanding the scallops. What should have been a simple handoff turned into a full-blown argument between Matt and Andrew. Matt argued the scallops were still undercooked, but Andrew, seemingly in a rush, decided to send them out anyway. Not exactly the best move for keeping things running smoothly.
These cornflakes. Basic stuff now.
You try to grab them. I can't serve nothing raw, chef. 30 seconds out.
They're not raw.
They're not raw. They're not raw.
When Matt finally sent the scallops to the pass, Chef Ramsay immediately identified the problem. The scallops were raw. Without missing a beat, he demanded to know who was responsible for the mistake. His frustration was palpable, and in true Chef Ramsay style, he wasted no time in making it clear that if Matt and Andrew didn't step up and admit their mistake, they would be kicked out of the kitchen. There was no room for hesitation or evasion. The pressure was intense, and the consequences were made crystal clear.
If I don't get a straight answer, I'm going to kick you out.
Go ahead, man. You sold them.
Matt, showing little backbone in taking responsibility, quickly shifted the blame onto Andrew. He insisted that it was Andrew who had pushed the scallops to go out. To make matters worse, he even suggested they review the camera footage as evidence.
He told me to sell them, chef. I kept telling him, no, you can look at the cameras in here.
Camera?
At that point, Pat, likely already worn out by the ongoing turmoil, had had enough. He turned to Matt and told him, "You must be out of your mind," a sentiment that seemed to resonate with everyone watching. Chef Ramsay, clearly beyond frustrated with the constant back and forth, took control of the situation. He gave Matt a cold, withering stare and told him to forget about the cameras. His instructions were blunt and final. Matt was never to send a scallop unless it was cooked to perfection.
Look at me, just look at me in the eyes. The camera. Unfold your arms now and don't give me a scallop unless it's cooked perfectly. You get it?
As much as it would have been satisfying to see Chef Ramsay give him a good slap across the face, I understand why that didn't happen, legal repercussions and all. Still, Matt, with his wannabe alpha attitude, definitely would have deserved it. Chef Ramsay, however, didn't hold back in his own way. He told Matt to drop the attitude, and you could almost feel the tension in the room as the weight of his words hung in the air. Then, as expected, came one of Chef Ramsay's signature insults, a blow that hit harder than any physical strike could.
If I hear you talk about a camera one more time, I'll stick a GoPro so you can see how you are. Got it?
I mean, seriously, can you top this? Matt, unsurprisingly, landed himself in trouble yet again. During the deliberations, Johnny, clearly at his wit's end with Matt's constant attitude, couldn't stay silent anymore. He flat out asked why no one had nominated Matt yet for his blatant disrespectful behavior.
The fact that you got in his face and
He told me to come here, though. He said, come
yeah,
here.
but no, but you
No, he told, that's what he
tried to like tough it out.
Johnny's question was completely valid. Matt had been behaving like a ticking time bomb all evening. But staying true to form, Matt refused to back down. He defended his actions, claiming he was simply speaking to Chef Ramsay the way he would in the military, as if that somehow made his rudeness acceptable. He even threw in the assertion that he'd still be around, regardless of whether people liked him or not, as though that would somehow smooth things over.
I don't care if they're mad. They can be mad. Take your tampon out.
Matt's behavior was a blend of every toxic trait imaginable, racist, sexist, and downright obnoxious. He was basically the infinity stones of everything wrong with a person, but Johnny wasn't having it. He immediately fired back, not buying into Matt's excuses for a second.
Who comes to this competition and treats Gordon Ramsay like that? That is the god of cooking right there. And you get in his face like you're gonna be in a fist fight with him?
Johnny wasn't exactly a saint himself, but in that moment, even he had a solid point. Matt's obnoxious and arrogant behavior was so over the top that it actually made Johnny seem like the voice of reason, which is saying something in itself. One might have hoped this would be the moment Matt realized that in Hell's Kitchen, culinary skills and a bad attitude don't exactly go hand in hand. But, of course, that MAGA arrogance stayed firmly in place right up until the very end.
Chef Ramsay is like I have one bad night service and everything else I do flawlessly. And then I go home when everybody else up every night.
He also threatened physical harm on Chef Ramsay on his way out.
If I was on the street right now and he came up to me with that same I'd him up. Point blank.
I usually steer clear of encouraging hate comments, but when it comes to this guy, I'll make an exception. Feel free to let loose and vent your frustration, he's definitely earned it. He spewed racist shit on season 15's contestant Hassan too on Facebook. Just in case you thought this was his wannabe on-screen persona, he's equally filthy outside. Now the blue team this season was really toxic and pathetic, but there was someone equally aggravating on the red team. It was the fourth service of season 16. Gia was assigned to the garnish station. At the special 12-top table, she failed to call out times for garnish and had no clue where her items were, frustrating her teammates who demanded she focus.
Gia, how much time do you need?
Where is my thing?
What thing? How much time do you need, Gia?
I'm topping it now. 2 minutes.
Chef Ramsay grew increasingly frustrated as the entrees were already on the pass.
Is the salmon ready?
Yes.
Are the Wellingtons ready?
Yes, Chef.
What are we waiting for?
The garnish.
To make matters worse, Gia threw away burnt garnishes and then admitted she had mistakenly used currants instead of capers in the potatoes. Why?
I got a million going on in my head, Ramsay. You understand? Give me a minute to absorb this.
Yeah, she also claimed she needed a minute to adjust to the chaos, but her error resulted in the 12-top table having to wait longer than expected. Later, she sent out improperly portioned green beans, which were drenched in butter and overcooked.
So I've got 3 beans, 4 beans. I got 4.5 beans per portion.
Chef Ramsay's frustration reached a boiling point when he realized she wasn't paying attention. When she threw her arms up in exasperation, Chef Ramsay questioned her, accusing her of giving up.
Hey, when you throw your arms in the air like that, what's all that for?
No, what I'm trying to say that I'm answering, I'm focused.
You
I'm
are.
listening.
And as always, she had an excuse.
These are my New York. Are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me?
New Yorkers, please confirm. Despite her protests, he didn't back down. With some help from Ryan, Gia finally managed to get food out. The red team ultimately won the service, and Gia felt relieved. Had they lost, she knew her teammates would have blamed her for the failure. But she was dead weight. Even though Gia was part of the winning team, she was eliminated due to her subpar performance at the garnish station, her failure to improve her attitude, and her apparent lack of effort.
You were already on thin ice coming to this service. Your brigade, your team, have lost faith in you. You are not ready.
In her exit interview, she expressed frustration, insisting that she shouldn't have been sent home and that the person who was nominated deserved to be eliminated instead. She was only in 4 episodes, but somehow managed to annoy me more than Elise. Honestly, she should have been eliminated after the 3rd episode. During this service, she worked at the meat station alongside Aziza. And how did she perform?
An absolute meltdown.
Sorry, Chef. Sorry. She sucks. We're ready to get her out of our team.
Her lamb was overcooked, and when she sent up the refire, Chef Ramsay was horrified to discover her Wellingtons were sliced incorrectly. He even remarked that,
I have never ever in the history of Hell's Kitchen been given a Wellington that's not even sliced.
damn. Gia then claimed this.
Sorry, I cut my finger off, Chef. Sorry.
You cut your finger off.
Yes.
Show me.
Apparently, she nearly cut her finger off while slicing, prompting Chef Ramsay to call for the medic and ask to see the injury. But when he looked, there was no blood. She pulled a Jared basically. Remember this?
He's bleeding to death. He's bleeding to death. You got a bigger cut on the end of your fucking dick.
Yeah, same difference.
Where's the cut? Where's the cut?
Right here.
Where?
It's not there.
What a whiny victim. This was hilarious to watch.
When you have a cut, it normally bleeds. Where's the cut?
I'm squeezing it, Chef. It's not gonna bleed.
Oh my God. You're such a drama queen.
When the medic arrived, she rudely dismissed the need for assistance, saying no one needed help.
Someone need a medic?
No, nobody needs a medic.
So my question to you is, where was Gia's cut? Wrong answers only. Anyway, later, her Wellingtons came out raw, and that was one of the key reasons the red team was kicked out of the kitchen.
I gave Gia a second chance, which proved to be 2 chances too many. See you, Gia.
Moving on to him,
Chef, don't touch his handles.
Zach, leave me alone. Leave me alone.
it was Season 11's HK3K Service Challenge, and Zach had the oh-so-lucky fish station. It didn't take long before Chef Ramsay spotted an already cooked tray of salmon, and Zach, trying to save face, told him they were just seared.
No, Chef, it's seared. It's not cooked.
Bring it over. Surely a piece of salmon that small can be cooked to order.
So, Zach, clearly trying his luck, handed the tray over, admitting he had cooked them. Chef Ramsay's patience hit a wall at this point.
Why? If there's one fish we don't cook twice, come on, guys.
And no, they weren't running a fast food joint. Chef Ramsay immediately ordered him to toss it all and start fresh. Despite Zach's slip-up, the rest of the kitchen managed to get salads and smoothies out the door without too much drama. That's where things were looking up, until Barrett decided to send his wraps to the pass without Zach's salmon being ready. Finally, with some help from Dan, Zach sent the salmon up. Unfortunately, the fish wasn't just undercooked, it was raw. Chef Ramsay, clearly unimpressed, tore into him and demanded he redo it from scratch.
I've got 8-year-old girls in the dining room, the salmon's raw!
But Zach, thinking he was smarter than the chef himself, snuck back to grab an old piece of salmon that Chef Ramsay had already told him not to use.
Chef told me that I can't use the fish that I had just cooked off, but the salmon looked perfect. So I figured all I gotta do is finish it off and send it out.
He threw it in a pan like nothing was wrong. Chef Ramsay wasn't having it. Furious, he asked Wacky if he was actually planning to use that piece.
That's the old stuff, Chef.
That's the old stuff.
Yes, Chef.
Have we been using that?
No, Chef.
Have we, Zach?
No, Chef. We joined the thing straight to the order.
He was caught, but he still denied it. Zach, digging himself into a deeper hole, swore he wasn't using it, but Chef Ramsay wasn't buying it.
He knows what's going on.
Look at me, in the eyes. Did you take salmon from the back and reheat it?
I tried to.
Yes or no?
No, Chef.
After asking him one more time, Chef Ramsay had enough. He pushed him aside and called Jeremy to cook the salmon properly, saving the night from another fish disaster.
No, Chef. It's right here.
Shut the off the salmon. Somebody else cook the salmon.
You will never ever fool Chef Ramsay in his kitchen. During the 15th dinner service, Zach was stationed at the meat station. While he was working on the entrees, he and Anthony were supposed to coordinate, but Anthony ended up sending out his sea bass before he had finished with the meat. This threw Zach off, and Chef Ramsay accused him of slowing down the team.
So you dragons? Yes. He served his bass.
2 minutes, Chef, and that's tops.
Oh, Christ almighty.
Desperate to make things right, Zach managed to get his lamb dish approved. However, he later served up undercooked Wellingtons, and the team's chances of winning seemed to slip away.
Chef, I cut it.
Hey, look at me. I swear to God, you can off.
As Zach tried to explain himself, Chef Ramsay had had enough of his excuses and demanded a straightforward answer.
Look at me. I'm up to here with your
Yes, Chef.
Does that not look dry to you?
Yes, Chef, it looks
right.
dry.
It's ridiculous. That's not the standard of the Hell's Kitchen.
To make matters worse, Anthony's halibut was sent out to an incomplete table because of this. Zach then found he had no more Wellingtons ready and reluctantly admitted they would take 20 minutes to cook properly. With no other options, Chef Ramsay decided to raid the red kitchen and take Susan's extra Wellingtons, which she claimed were cooked perfectly. On VIP Menunos' table, Zach couldn't even recall the order correctly.
2 lamb, 1 Wellington, 1 bass. What's going now?
2 lamb, 1 Wellington, 1 lamb.
To top it all off, Chef Ramsay found overcooked lamb on his station that looked like it belonged in a zoo.
Looks like elephant shit from here.
I understand, Chef. I'm just waiting for the fish.
When Zach tried to argue that he was waiting on fish, Chef Ramsay threatened to eliminate him on the spot if he offered another excuse. Then, his inability to answer when the food would be ready pushed Chef Ramsay over the edge.
2 lamb, 1 Wellington, 1 bass. How long?
Knowing that was the last straw, Chef Ramsay took over the meat station himself. Chef Ramsay berated Zach for asking dumb questions and mocked him. It was hilarious to watch.
Now he's asking me stupid questions. Hey, chef, can I brush my teeth? Hey, chef, can I change my pants?
Brutal. Zach somehow manipulated his way into avoiding the elimination nomination, but Chef Ramsay still pulled him up to the front with Anthony.
You hit a wall tonight. Bang, you fell flat on your ass.
Despite the rough critique, Zach felt he had come too far just to throw in the towel. When Chef Ramsay asked what made him different from Anthony, Zach described himself as a fighter who was passionate about his work. Chef Ramsay countered that.
Screwing up is one thing. Sugarcoating it and not getting straight to the solution is your big downfall.
Up next is Susan from the same season who mirrored Chef Ramsay's personal insults back at him. During the private dinner service, she casually asked Mary if they were still using the mushroom stock. Chef Ramsay, of course, couldn't resist a jab and sarcastically confirmed it.
And we're using the mushroom stock for this.
I hope so, Susan. That's why it's called a mushroom risotto.
Following up with a dig.
Please, I know you're blonde, but you're not stupid, right?
And that hit a nerve. She wasn't having it though. She quickly clarified that.
First of all, This is fake.
No, mushroom risotto, you're asking her, are we using the mushroom?
No, I was just reminding her, Chef.
And then showed Chef Ramsay the mirror.
You're blonde too, Chef Ramsay, so what does that say about you?
I mean, that was hilarious. Then, taking charge of the New York strip loin course, she was nervous. The team had been struggling with steaks recently, and at this point in the competition, she was hoping they wouldn't mess it up again. But fate had other plans. The steaks were still raw, and she had to ask the blue team for more time.
I need more time on my steaks.
How much?
From here to plating, I'm gonna need 7 minutes.
All right, 7 minutes. Susan. Come on, Susan.
At that moment, she felt like a total idiot, like she was letting the whole kitchen down.
I feel like an asshole right now because I'm holding the blue team back. No, our steaks are not ready to go.
How long do you need?
We need 5 minutes. Our steaks are not
5
ready.
minutes, we're ready in a minute.
Chef Ramsay then accused her of making the blue team overcook their steaks just to bail her out, but she wasn't taking that either.
You stay on time.
That-
No, you asked for more time, he granted you. You can't now go back 2 minutes to go and say, I need 5.
Trying to salvage the situation, she nervously decided it was time to plate the steaks. She sliced into one, bracing for disaster, only to find it cooked perfectly. It should have been a victory, but of course, Chef Ramsay wasn't satisfied. He tore into her for not dressing the plate properly.
Susan, the steaks are ready, and there's not one thing on the plate. Why aren't they starting to dress? You're a disgrace.
Next in line is a contestant whose temper often got the better of her.
I'm beat. Like, I'm beat down, Chef. Like, it's just certain things you just can't do.
Joy Parham Thomas from season 12. Her struggles with clear communication became evident during this particular service.
Wait, give me a time in so I can yell it out. Joy, we can go 2 minutes with this chicken?
No.
The entree round revealed more missteps as Joy failed to sync up with her teammates, Rochelle Bergman and Jason Zapaltas. Rochelle needed additional time to finish the Wellingtons, but Joy prematurely sent out the halibut, leaving Rochelle scrambling to catch up. When Chef Ramsay intervened, he had to remind Joy that the sauce should have been prioritized. Unfortunately, she seemed entirely absorbed in her own process, seemingly oblivious to the bigger picture.
Are you walking with it, Joy?
Yeah, take it up.
You gotta let me know so I can cut my Wellington.
Joy, I need the sauce first.
Oh, I can get it right now, Chef.
Things took an even sharper turn when Chef Ramsay attempted to emphasize the importance of coordinating garnish timing. Instead of taking the feedback in stride, Joy served up a hefty portion of attitude, bold to say the least.
Whether you like it or not, you're just holding the whole f***ing kitchen up.
Whatever, Chef. If you feel like I'm holding the kitchen up and I'm slowing everything down, how about I'll leave and you can have somebody else work fish?
Chef Ramsay quickly shut it down, warning her not to let her frustration spill over onto the dishes and customers he held in such high regard.
Welcome with the halibut.
I need the garnish for the halibut before the halibut.
Her erratic behavior and inability to stay focused only added fuel to the fire. As if the tension wasn't already at its peak, Joy reached her breaking point. In a dramatic twist, she announced she was finished with the competition, leaving everyone stunned. It was the kind of meltdown that became the episode's defining moment.
I'm done.
You're done.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Joy, stop.
I'm done with this shit.
In my opinion, walking away from a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity over one misstep feels like an overreaction. Sous Chef Andy chimed in with some well-timed advice, offering a dose of much-needed perspective.
Like, look, I'm hard on you because I see some of me in you, and I know you're better than that. That's what he's doing. The people that are the hardest on you in your life are the ones that care about you most.
Absolutely. Sous Chef Andy wasn't about to let the night's chaos go unnoticed and pressed Joy for answers about what really happened during service. Joy, still rattled and frustrated, attempted to justify her actions, claiming Chef Ramsay had blown things out of proportion. But let's be honest, isn't that classic Chef Ramsay? Their conversation seemed to be a turning point for Joy. Somewhere amidst Andy's probing questions and her own reflections, a significant realization began to take shape.
I need to tell Chef Ramsay I apologize wholeheartedly. I need just one more chance. Let me prove myself.
In a rare moment of introspection, Joy found herself weighing her options. She came to the conclusion that an apology to Chef Ramsay was in order, along with a request for another shot at proving herself. But here's the twist.
It's too late. I can't. I apologize. I feel like I let Chef Ramsay down and I didn't think about anybody but myself.
Sadly, Joy wasn't sure she had the courage to follow through with it. I really wish she had. What's surprising is that Chef Ramsay actually went after her when she quit. It seemed like he saw something in her, potential maybe, and genuinely hoped she'd fight to stay in the game.
I'm trying to tell you.
No, you're not telling me. No, you're not. You're arguing. You're arguing, you're shouting.
I'm done.
Hey, I know you're done. It shows in your cooking.
I mean, this is a man who sent contestants packing mid-service, but when he followed Joy outside, it looked like he was waiting for her to make a stand. Don't you think? It's hard to believe she thought it was too late to apologize. That one poor decision cost her everything. The chance of a lifetime was gone in an instant. And now, she has to live with the regret of throwing it all away. But can you think of any other contestant who threw in the towel way earlier than they should have? Don't forget to drop those names in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notification. And before you leave, don't forget to check out the next video right here. What happens towards the end is shocking.